Copy. Joining us now, Sean Cunningham of Fox40. Sean, a really special moment that we got to share together watching Stephon Castle make his NBA Summer League debut. What were your thoughts on the UConn guard?
I was very disappointed in him for not playing against the Sacramento Kings last night. That was my takeaway. I mean, I really wanted to watch him play.
Yeah,
I did.
No, I wanted to watch him play too, but so much of what we were focused on Saturday was DeMar DeRozan related. That all went down, of course, at Golden One Center during the Cal Classic, between the first two games of the California Classic on Saturday. What were your initial thoughts on the DeMar DeRozan acquisition for the Kings?
I'm very happy for Kings fans, especially getting to see that really cool moment when he
Awesome.
strolled out to Golden One Center with Vivek Ranadive, and you had a certain Kendrick Lamar song playing in the background to welcome him as he just appeared in that music video, obviously. Which, by the way, yeah, there we go. That's the one. Which, by the way, like, they historically play a lot of Drake in the building. Does that?
I was gonna say, like, what does that look like now? Because like Drake's been around or whatever. Like James tells his story where Drake came into the locker room one time and all that. So it's like, we out on Drake or what's going on?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think it's pretty well known. I'm not the biggest Drake fan, but they literally, so even before the DeMar news came down, they played the song during, I believe, halftime or warm-ups of the Hornets and Spurs game that night. And I'm kind of like, well, you can't play this and then like play Drake later on. And now that you have DeMar DeRozan on your team, which, by the way, I mean, you got the Kings who do a nice job of having these like little quirky sound effects every time a certain player will make a shot or whatever. If I don't know if you do it every time DeMar DeRozan scores, because he scores a lot of buckets, but maybe it's a 3-pointer. I imagine that little jingle there.
Rose came home. I didn't deserve him either.
Perfect.
That one?
Timing. Yeah, that one. I imagine you'll probably hear that, which means I think if DeMar DeRozan's on your team and he's in that music video and he sides with Kendrick Lamar and he's from Compton, like, I don't think you're going to be able to play Drake, right?
Yeah, he was at the Pop Out concert. Right. You can't. Yeah, no, Drake is out of the rotation for me.
Yeah, well,
if you're at Golden One Center.
So I think that's another win for Sacramento. I think this. Yeah, I think this is a good thing.
Given your penchant for pop music, I'm shocked you're not a Drake guy.
I know. It's it is a shame, but yeah, it's just not. There are several reasons why, but we don't have to dive into that. But I will say, like, going back to DeRozan, like, no, it was a really cool moment. I'm happy for fans. I think. Look, I think it's more than reasonable and fair to question his fit on the team. I mean, you consider how, DeMar DeRozan is up there with Domantas Sabonis in terms of people who like to criticize their games. And I think, look, DeRozan obviously has a much more decorated track record. I mean, a 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, gold medalist. I mean, list goes on. And then you see what he's done in the fourth quarter. Last year, you see he's been one of the most durable players in the NBA, leading the league in minutes last year. And this is all at the age of 34. He'll turn 35 before the season starts. And, certainly he's longer in the tooth, but he doesn't have to necessarily be DeMar DeRozan that we've kind of grown to get accustomed to, a 25-point scorer night in and night out. But it's nice that they have been able to add a prolific scorer and not do it with sacrificing too much of your future or too much of what your identity is. I mean, anyone who's questioning the fit on this team, I'd say two things. One, it's July 8th. There's plenty of offseason to go. This is not a finished product. And two, you're undeniably better. Like, you're more relevant right now by simple fact that you gave up two players that one was, with respect to Harrison Barnes, was a player who didn't serve the type of role that you needed that player to serve, given the fact you have Keegan Murray on your team. And he's, you've got, grand visions and goals and lofty expectations for the future of Keegan Murray so long that he's on your team. So, in moving somebody like Harrison Barnes, and in my opinion, upgrading there and upgrading a guy like Chris Duarte, who, with respect to him, was still trying to figure out and find his way. To me, it's not much of a sacrifice. A pick swap in 2031. So, money going to Chicago. So second round picks, you're still under the luxury tax. I mean, look, every team's going to be in these aprons and dealing with luxury tax, and the Kings still find themselves in a hell of a situation to go out there and really better their not only their situation for next year, but really for years to come. I mean, I know, look, with respect to DeRozan, 35 years old. I mean, you can't get away from that, but he plays a type of style to where he's been durable. He's been able to be someone you can rely on. He's improved his 3-point ability. In Chicago, he's doing walk-up threes. He kicked the Kings' ass that night. And if I'm Monty McNair, Vivek Ranadive, those people sitting courtside watching that, you're like, yeah, there's no question about what this guy can do with the basketball in his hands. And, oh, by the way, he's become a hell of a playmaker later in life. This just bodes well for the Kings. I look, do I think they're a championship contender? Certainly not. Let's see what they add. But I think they're definitely a playoff team with the addition of DeRozan.
Did this all come together recently? Like, how long have they had their eye on DeMar DeRozan?
I mean, from my understanding, it's all been part of the calculus. I mean, I think they put a wish list together, you know, and you'd call it a draft board during the NBA draft. I think when it comes to what you're looking to improve your team with, his name is on the board, and it was on the board early. I don't know that I'd call it a focal point, but certainly after you kick the tires on some certain things and kind of see where you are, you know, I think you go a little deeper into that board. So I think it depends on who you ask and who you talk to, because everyone has varying opinions. Like, we all might really like, let's just say, Lauri Markkanen, right? And Kyle might really like him as a player, but maybe not so much for the Kings. And I might be like, oh, he's a perfect addition to put next to Sabonis. And Jesse might go, yeah, but you know, you might need a better option at your 3. Like,
classic Jesse.
But it's for yeah. But it's varying degrees of how much do you want, how much was it a focal point. And look, you've got a lot of opinions in that room, and you add the analytics to that. You know, you take everything you have to kick the tires on everything. And that's the one thing I think you've seen with this Kings front office as it's currently constructed, is they kind of attach themselves to a lot of things to really find what options could be out there to make the team better. So it's never really a finished product. But even right now, I mean, this, you know, they've got 13 roster spots. They just signed signed Jordan McLaughlin. He'll be the 13th roster spot. So you've got room to go out and do things. I think the trade market is still ultimately where this team gets better. So yeah, I'm expecting more moves.
Sean Cunningham, Fox40, joining us. No D lower KC today. I'm Kyle Madsen, Jesse Tapia in the building as well. Is that Lauri Markkanen deal still on the table at all?
I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be. I don't expect it just for a couple things. I mean, for one, if you're Utah, what are you doing? Like, why?
You know, great question.
Why would my point is, why would you let him go? I mean, you've got the money, you've got the picks, you're rebuilding. He's a tremendous talent. He's not old by any stretch. I mean, you could build around him. I think they probably should. But Danny Ainge likes to really kind of blow things up and tinker a lot, you know. And I think, you know, you find out what his value is, and you take it from there. He's going into free agency. It makes things a little difficult to shop around, but certainly you saw what the likes of Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, 2 players last year, who, in my opinion, aren't I'd put Markkanen as he's currently in his current state of age and where he stands in his stature of the NBA. I'd put him higher on both those two. And you saw what those guys commanded on the open market heading into free agency. So short of him giving somebody a guarantee, which I'm not really inclined to believe that his people are doing that. So there's a part of me that really thinks that he's headed for free agency in Utah. If they feel like they want to get something for him, great. But if I'm him, I'm trying to wine and dine and keep him in Utah.
Sure.
What do you think the Kings' plan is going forward now that they have DeRozan? Like, they didn't really give up much for him. Just give up a pick swap in 2031. You still have Herter around and all that. Like, maybe, like, what do you think what are they looking to add? Or what I don't do as their plan next?
Yeah, I think they got, you know, I've talked about needing that third or even the second in this case in terms of that 3-headed monster, if you will. And for that being, I think they've addressed that need. You know, whether he plays a 2 or a 3, I still think they need length. I still think they need to get better. They haven't addressed any of that. You know, rim protection is difficult to find. You look at your problems that you've had against, big teams. And I don't know that necessarily changes things. But the thing that I like is you've taken so much pressure off of Fox and Sabonis, particularly because down the stretch of games, Domas just doesn't appear to be that guy that recognizes that he needs to go down there and score, and relying on he can still be more of a distributor and still be this incredible piece, but having an outlet like DeRozan, who can not only go get you a bucket, but get to the free throw line. He's an incredible free throw shooter. He has a rise to the moment type of aspect to his game. And you pair that with Fox. I think you got two lethal dudes in the fourth quarter who aren't letting up. Part of the criticisms for Fox has been, not keeping the foot on the gas and not being able to, maybe coast through a couple quarters and then get to the fourth and turn it on. I think he's done a much, much better job than that in recent years. And I think DeRozan kind of will help him do that. It'll be interesting to see how, it might be a janky fit at first. Does DeRozan's ability to score kind of take, almost that tree that grows a little higher than others and provide shade for the smaller trees? Like will Keegan Murray, who's already, he's already got Mike Brown's foot in his, to tell him to shoot the ball more and to recognize scoring opportunities, does that take away from Keegan? I would argue, probably not. Especially if he's got Mike Brown still on him to be that corner three and do what he does. But sometimes you can find teammates being a little bit too unselfish, and the last thing you want to do is watch them stand around and watch DeMar DeRozan work. So if they can keep the ball movement the same and keep that pace of play and increase it from last year, that'd be pretty fun. But again, it might be a little weird at first.
Sean Cunningham joining us on D'Lo and Casey. No D'Lo or Casey today on Comats, and Jesse Tapia hanging out as well. Kenny Caraway will be back tomorrow. D'Lo on vacation this week. Sean, you posted a video on Twitter of Malik Monk talking about various things, but among them his desire to start. Said he wants to start, but he'll do whatever helps winning and facilitates winning. Does the DeMar DeRozan addition impact his ability to start, do you think, or was that never really on the table for the Kings?
No, I think look, he said it himself. Like, the team knows. He's made this clear since the moment he got here. It might have been amplified by his free agency and certainly his importance to the team. And then you give the struggles, you factor in the struggles that Kevin Huerter had and roles on this team. He's always somebody that I've argued is, like, of all the roles, all the players that understand the roles on the team, he flourishes in his and completely understands his, and he'll do whatever the team wants. It doesn't mean he will be satisfied with it. He definitely wants to be a starter, but I think it depends on what the team looks like. And, do you put DeMar DeRozan as a 2? Do you put him as a 3? I think as the roster is currently constructed, still having Kevin Huerter on the team, in my opinion, you put Kevin Huerter, especially in the start of the season, he might have a shorter leash, but you want him as confident and as comfortable as possible. And to me, that puts him in the starting lineup. And if you have DeMar DeRozan at your 3 and Keegan at your 4, Malik Monk knows what it's like to come off the bench. He flourishes in that system. He's a playmaker. I don't think it's necessary for him to start, but if Kevin Huerter is moved, well then, I think Malik Monk is your starting 2. I also think too, with the injury to Devin Carter, and I think we're all expecting that to hinder his readiness for the season and potentially see that rehab go into the at least training camp, if not further along. Then he's kind of a playmaker himself, and you're definitely going to need playmaking on the bench. So I wouldn't expect, as long as Kevin Huerter's on the team, I'm not expecting Malik Monk's role to change too much, but at least in the early going.
What do you think the closing lineup looks like? Do we see Monk out there with DeRozan and Fox, or how would you do that?
No, 100%. That's the biggest thing. Monk, I think that's what makes Monk so comfortable within his role and what he means to this team and the identity he gives his team, because he knows he's closing games. He knows he's going to be relied upon. It's just him coming off the bench doesn't mean he's the 6th best player on the team. He's not, even with DeMar DeRozan, with respect. Right. Like, he's the factor. To me, he gives this team an absolute identity. They feed off it. the crowd feeds off of his energy and his identity. And he's part of that closing unit. Absolutely.
Sean Cunningham, Fox40 joining us. Did you have any takeaways from Summer League or from the Cal Classic?
Takeaways. Well, it was incredible. I've seen so much Summer League basketball that I usually kind of cringe at it. It's a lot of bad basketball. I don't know why the Kings have 2 teams. To me, that's just kind of a silly thing to do. But with that said, it's meant I've got to watch more Summer League basketball. I've enjoyed seeing Adonis Arms. If nobody has seen him play, it's not even the scoring. It's not anything crazy. Like his passing ability is really kind of captures me and my attention. But no, not necessarily. I think seeing Mike Brown courtside with his grandson is always amusing. I mean, that just brings such joy to his face. And it's a lot of the stuff that happens on the periphery and trying to run down certain people and kind of get in their ear, seeing a lot of scouts, seeing a lot of people that come into the building that you might not see. And that's what the best part about Vegas Summer League is. I mean, look, we're all hoop junkies at the end of the day. We like to watch good competitive basketball, but these games have been really tough.
Go.
Yeah, they've been awful. So kudos to anybody who goes out there and spends their hard-earned money to watch some of that. But I will say, I mean, there's always levels of intrigue. Like if you're a Spurs fan, you want to see Stephon Castle. You've wanted to see the other draft pick. I always mess up his name, Salum Tihan, how do you say his name? But he's not even playing. He's not even playing this year. So that takes. If you're a Hornets fan, Brandon Miller is not there. He's with the select team. It's some of these absences are tough, but going out there, and if you're a Kings fan, I mean, you easily have the most recognizable team full of names that who some of them are. Then you have some, certainly some curiosity about the new two-way players. Seeing Mason Jones shed 40 pounds, I need to get on that plan for sure.
Insane, dude.
That's wild. For people who don't know, I mean, he got to Stockton in December, and here he is in July coming into this summer league, and he's down over 40 pounds. I mean, a guy who I don't. It's interesting because I haven't had a chance really to ask and go too far in depth with him yet, but I was curious if that was more of a team thing, if that was him, because I felt he had a rejuvenation to him when he got to Stockton. Like you kind of saw a little bit different version of a Mason Jones than you had seen prior. And he really helped Stockton. I mean, they kind of took off when he got there. So seeing him earn that two-way spot was nice to see. Sounds like he's going to get his hair back to a different color. I'm not sure if it's going to be bleached again or if he says going to keep it, natural for now, but I always like that. He does that to shout out his time in Europe and being overseas. But that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'll say this: Isaac Jones has had a couple highlight-worthy moments. The new two-way player. Yeah,
dude, Mason Jones didn't even. I legitimately had to look down to see who it was because Keon Ellis, what Keon Ellis looks like,
yep.
and Colby Jones, what Colby Jones like. When Mason Jones took the court, I was like, who is number 8? I have never seen this person before in my life because the head was shaved or the blonde hair was gone. Like you said, he looks physically just so much different, like a totally different human. It was nuts.
Yeah. And I don't know that he had to, do all that. He said he was up to, was it 240, 245? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know that he had to even come down as low as 195 or whatever it is now, but whatever. I mean, he got with the plan, he did it. He's being rewarded for it. And he's got a new approach to his game, and I think it's paying. I mean, he's always kind of been a bucket. He's going out there and looking for scoring opportunities. So he's still doing that within the summer league. He did that within Stockton. He's going to kind of play within himself, and I think it's interesting to talk to someone like Doug Christie who wants to see someone like Keon Ellis and Colby Jones be two guys that they identify to be a little bit more like a playmaking type of role to get others involved, but make no mistake, you need to go out there and score. And Colby struggled to shoot the ball a little bit, but look at us breaking down summer league. That's just it's
this is why people are locked in, dude.
Yeah, it's just nonsense. But like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these are guys that are, I think I'm curious to see if Keon Ellis goes to Vegas. I actually don't expect that to happen.
Sure.
And I think we're going to maybe see this roster get shuffled up a little bit between the one in San Francisco and the one in Sacramento for the final game. So, and then of course, when the game is in San Francisco, that game is likely going to be a mesh of the two teams as well. So, yeah, I think there's things to pay attention to. I mean, certainly when we get down to Vegas over the next week, seeing what exists there and really kind of diving in and getting to know some of these guys, because they all have stories, and you feel for a player like Isaiah Crawford, Isaiah Crawford, because guy who's coming off of 2 ACLs, and he's able to secure a 2-way contract with an NBA team. He's now right on the precipice of kind of getting his career together, or being where he hoped it would be, and moving beyond some of those setbacks. So they all have stories, and looking forward to catching up with them.
That was one of the big takeaways for me, was that Keon Ellis looks like an NBA player playing in summer league. Like, he just looks like the best player on the court, which I think is probably what the Kings wanted to see. I'd be surprised if he's in Vegas.
Well, it's weird too, because you look at your level of competition, and with respect to the Chinese national team, you're not full of even quasi NBA players. So you beat them by 51. Like, what do you really take away from that game? Like, even if you're scouting report, or your scouts, or your analytics department, or your head coach, you're sitting down with guys and trying to give them feedback, I wouldn't give them any feedback. It's like, all right, let's move on to San Antonio, and then you have a little more of a competitive game. And even San Antonio is absolutely bleak. But it was fun to see. I don't have the name in front of me real quick, but he was on the Austin Spurs last year. Kid from Folsom, went to Vista Del Lago High School. Played for
Luke Avdilovic.
Yeah, I was trying to get a bucket from him all night, and I couldn't. He just had the 3 free throws, but it was nice. It's always fun to see these local ties. Christian Terrell is down with the Warriors. He's only going to play in the California Classic, but he's a name that used to be on Stockton, and has been on Kings training camp and summer league before. So it's always fun to kind of track some of these locals and see where they might end up.
Sean, you've been super generous with your time. We appreciate it immensely. Go enjoy the rest of your Monday, man. We appreciate it.
Why, thanks, guys. Good to see y'all.
See you, Sean. Sean Cunningham, Fox40. Not many people covering the Kings better than he does.